Hello, my friend, and welcome to Something for Everybody. My name is Aaron Machbitz. Today is a solo episode of the podcast where I'm discussing 10 things men have to stop doing in 2025. This list was originally created by Connor Beaton on Instagram under his handle @ManTalks. I really enjoy his content and I urge everyone to go check it out. And he's the one who created these 10 things. I saw him make it on an Instagram post. I believe he also did a podcast episode about that. I didn't watch or listen. I wanted to just come on here and give you my own take and own interpretation of these 10 things that men have to stop doing, because I care deeply about men and I want all young boys, men, young men to become the best version of themselves in greatest service of the world. And I think these 10 things that we can become aware of might help us go on that journey. So with that said, let's jump right in. Number 1, stop shitting on yourself. This is very self-explanatory. Stop constantly beating yourself up in your mind about everything that you do, don't do, all your mistakes. We have to get really good at our self-talk. If you think about the mark of a great performer, whether that's an athlete or any performer, but really an athlete more specifically, they dominate their self-talk. Their self-talk is credible, it's real, it's productive, and it helps them perform better. They're not constantly shitting on themselves because they become a master of their emotional state. And as men, we also have the ability to be able to do that. Really, as any person who exists in the world, you have control over this ability to manage and dominate your self-talk. So it's about challenging these negative feelings, not eliminating them. You're not going to eliminate your negative feelings or negative things you say to yourself, but there's a difference between sometimes saying something bad to yourself than constantly shitting on yourself about everything you do all the time. And so we have to challenge those negative thoughts. We have to replace them with credible thoughts. And then the most important thing about our self-talk is it determines our confidence. Our confidence is this intense trust we have in ourselves. How do we build that? Well, we keep the little promises we make to ourselves by doing what we say we're going to do. So it all has this through line of, okay, I want to stop shitting on myself. Okay, cool. I need to start challenging my negative thoughts. I need to start keeping the little promises I make to myself. I need to do what I say I'm going to do. I need to challenge those thoughts, reframe them into positive, credible things about me so I can uplift myself and encourage myself and be my own best friend. So those are the things we have to start thinking about if we want to develop into the best version of ourselves. And self-talk is the number one determinant of our confidence in the moment. There's also your previous successes and things of that nature, and your preparation. Those two things also go into your confidence. But in the moment, while we're having a conversation or a presentation, or we're talking to our kids, or we're doing something, whatever, the way we talk to ourselves in that moment is really important, and how we reflect on that afterwards is really important. If we're always constantly just shitting on ourselves, we're never going to be able to honestly improve and get better, or recognize all the strides and progress we have made. So let's challenge those negative thoughts. Let's reframe them into something positive, productive, and credible, and continue to be our own best friend, especially in our own minds. Number 2, stop blaming women for your problems. Your problems are your problems. The mark of a real, true, healthy, masculine, strong man is that he takes responsibility for his actions. He takes responsibility for his actions. Jordan Peterson said this: if all of the women in the world don't like you, it's not the women's fault, it's your fault. Yeah, that may suck and that may sting, and there may be a lot of issues, and some females in your life may have played a part in some things that have gone wrong, but ultimately your life is on you. You have to take full responsibility and ownership and accountability over your life, the direction you want to go, and how you show up in the world. This is Jocko Willink style. Like, that's a real man. That's a strong masculine man who all young boys and young men could use as a role model and a mentor. And all he preaches is leadership and extreme ownership. Good. Something goes wrong? Good. This happened? Good. Still breathing, not dead yet, good. That means you have a chance to improve and get better. So we can't be just going around willy-nilly blaming women for all of our problems. That's absolutely asinine, it's childish, and it's immature, and it doesn't improve anything. Your greatest relationships of all time could be with a woman. Mine is. I'm newly married to an amazing woman, my wife, and it's the greatest relationship I've ever had. Yeah, it's challenging, it's hard, but it makes me become the best version of me. It makes me become more mature and more responsible. And my life is still my life. Yes, I have a partner and someone to think about and someone that can help and support and guide my decisions, but ultimately it's on me. My life is on me. I'm taking extreme ownership over my life, and I'm not just blaming women for my problems. That's lame. It's immature, and most importantly, it's just wrong. It doesn't make sense. You have some agency, and you have to employ that agency by taking control of your life, over your attitude, your effort, and how you respond to things, and not blaming other people, other situations, or other things. Great men aren't victims. Great men are heroes. They go on the hero's journey, and they battle dragons constantly. Okay, we have to battle those dragons inside and outside of our, own mind, whatever it is, the dragons in real life, the hardships that we go to, or the dragons that we battle inside, right, by taking extreme ownership. That is important, and that's number 2. Let's move on to number 3, which is stop consuming cowardly less content. Oh my God, that took me a very, very hard time. Basically, stop consuming content that doesn't make your life better. Wow. I'm keeping that in there. Hopefully everyone knows that, because this is just, raw, off the cuff, off the dome. I'm just reading this list and then I'm going for it. I've read this list obviously a bunch of times before, just to understand what I was trying to talk about and to see if I actually like the list, which again, I do. It's a great list of 10 things that men should stop doing, but that was a little tongue-tied, got some issues there. But here we are, flying by the seat of my pants. Hopefully you guys know that this is as raw and as organic as it can possibly be. But the content diet that you have is extremely important. What you consume is extremely important. What you consume into your mouth is extremely important. What you consume with your eyes and your brain is extremely important. So maybe your best option is to really try and curate your algorithm to the most productive you can possibly be. I mean, you could unfollow all of these chicks and models and OF people on TikTok and Instagram. Stop clouding your feed with all this bullshit and actually cloud your feed with, because you're going to go on social anyways, right? So might as well have an algorithm that's basically going to be about business content or finance or getting in shape or creating content that actually might change your world, or building a business, or understanding how to do real estate, or understanding how to talk and communicate better, or understanding how to feel your feelings, or whatever the case may be, whatever the actual point of emphasis you want, whatever the action you're trying to take to improve yourself in a little way. It can be on social media, because social media is not going anywhere. So I wouldn't tell you to just remove your phone and never talk to anyone. No, because what if you're trying to meet someone or build something or whatever the case may be, but consume content that's actually going to try and improve your life. And then take a temperature check, right? Because the fastest way to improve your life is to stop doing the things that make you feel like shit. So if you get on social for 30 minutes and you feel like shit and you never do anything about it, you're not actually being self-aware about what you like and what you don't like. And that's a huge part about being in a relationship, especially being in relationship to ourselves. We have awareness, acceptance, and then action. So we have to be aware of what we're consuming, accept it, and then move into some sort of action. Do something about it. Like we said, take ownership and control over that, then move forward in the best way you know how, making your habits too small to fail. That's number 3. Number 4 is stop outsourcing validation. Stop outsourcing validation. You don't need all this external validation. It's going to come. It really is going to come if you do something great. But what we're trying to have is this internal validation, this sense of peace and that oneness with ourselves based on who we are. And that's based on what we do in this world, our actions. It's not what we say, it's what we do. And we don't need to outsource our validation to other people. We need to find it within ourselves, right? It's about self-talk again, right? If self-talk is being your own best friend, this is the same thing. We have to find little ways to congratulate ourselves along the way. I say that's like me. Anytime I do anything that I said that I was going to do, wake up in the morning, go work out, record a podcast episode, send a bunch of emails, create some content. Great. That's like me. That's like me to get the job done. That's like me to do 5 push-ups after I brush my teeth, right? So I'm internally recognizing and validating myself through my efforts and hard work, because most people aren't going to see all of the work that you do, especially in the dark, especially when it's lonely, and especially when you haven't built anything in public yet. And then when you do, yes, people are going to externally validate you all the time, but that shouldn't create or destroy anything about you, right? Because a lot of negative comments are going to come in too. So if you're always seesawing about the external validation, either positive or negative, you're not really in control of your psyche and your mental state and your emotional state. So we want to be internally validating ourselves based on the progress we're making and the journey that we're on. That's very, very important. Number 5, very self-explanatory and very straightforward. Stop ignoring your finances. Stop ignoring your finances. Yes, money isn't everything. Of course it's not. But you have to be financially disciplined. You have to be financially literate if you want to be a successful man, because if you want to be a successful man, it's about building a family, and building a family costs money, right? Again, money isn't everything, right? Your purpose and meaning in life and your connections, your relationships, but everything in life costs money. So why not make an important point to stop ignoring your finances? And what are the little things you can do to create that, to be more financially literate, to understand how I can make a little bit more money here, or where I need to invest, or what this looks like, or, how does this make sense, or what's my credit card situation, or how can I boost my credit score, or what's this interest rate look like, or what stocks can I invest in? Is crypto a good idea? All of these questions are important. Just because you don't understand them doesn't mean you just should ignore them, right? So stop ignoring your finances. Think about how you can improve. It's all about, having a list of these things of awareness, acceptance, and action, awareness, acceptance, and action, and then making these habits too small to fail. Okay, what's one little book or podcast I can read or listen to that's going to help me understand my finances a little bit more? Do I have a friend who's really good at it, who's a financial advisor? Okay, maybe I can sit down and talk to him about things that are going on in my life, and not be embarrassed about my situation, but understand I'm just trying to improve and get better so I can build a legacy, or have a family, or take care of the ones that I love, while also thinking about all of these other things. And that goes right into number 6, which is stop overthinking, right? If all we do is overthink and overthink, we're never going to actually move into action, right? The fastest way to stop overthinking is to act. We can think about doing the thing, we can read about doing the thing, we can listen about doing the thing, we can talk about doing the thing, we can dream about doing the thing, but that's not actually doing the thing. The only thing that's doing the thing is action, and action is the only thing that will get you out of your own way and get you to stop overthinking constantly about, is this the right choice? Is this the right choice? Am I making the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? Once we start moving into action, because getting to the starting line and taking that first step is always going to be the hardest part. So this is about anything in your life. You want to stop overthinking about dating or finances or doing this or starting this new job or going out on a leap or understanding this business or whatever the case may be. Yes, it's always going to be hard. Yes, you're always going to feel scared. Of course you are. But as you continue to move forward and take those little steps forward, you're going to feel more brave and more courageous. And now that becomes who you are. That becomes part of your first principles. That becomes part of your identity as someone who can make that first step, as someone who can get to the starting line and take that first step forward and then use that momentum to carry them forward. So the only way to combat overthinking is action. And another way to combat overthinking, right? If we said stop shitting on ourselves, which really means taking control and ownership over our self-talk and how we talk to ourselves, and how we create productive, positive, enhancing self-talk by challenging those negative thoughts. That's the same part about this overthinking. If I'm in control of my attitude, my effort, and my response, and self-talk is part of that, then I know action is the way that combats overthinking, and I have this productive, positive self-talk. Now I can actually positively move myself in the right direction because I know that I'm acting, I'm doing action. It's not what I say, it's more what I do. Do what you say you're going to do, right? That's the confidence link that we talked about earlier. And then I'm not shitting on myself because I'm having this productive, positive self-talk by challenging these overthinking and negative beliefs. Then I'm moving into action. Now I create this inertia and this activation energy, and now I'm off to the races. So that's number 6. Number 7, we move into stop living without structure. Routine and discipline are important. Discipline equals freedom. We talked about Jocko and his extreme ownership. Another one of his principles is discipline equals freedom. What is discipline? Discipline is doing the thing you said you were going to do regardless of how you feel. It's a lot like keeping the little promises you make to yourself. It's a lot like doing what you say you're going to do. Can you tell how all these things are interconnected? Your discipline, your self-talk, your confidence, your responsibility, your accountability, the way you look at overthinking, the way you think about your validation, the way you consume content. All of these things are based on your emotional and mental state and how many things you can do to combat, to put structures in place, to put systems in place. Like you can think about living with structure as putting algorithms into your life. If this, then what? If I do this, then I do this. If this, then what? And so these habits become automatic, and you live with structure and you live a routine. I'm not saying you need to have a 4-hour morning routine, but I'm saying you need to do some things every day that create structure in your life, that create discipline in your life, that allow you to become the best version of you. Structure means eating well, moving well, sleeping well, and thinking well. Those are structure. Why are they structure? Because they give you routine, they give you discipline, and they give you these habits that you know you need to be partaking in if you want to be the best version of you. And so you have to have some sort of discipline, because discipline equals freedom. Otherwise, you're willy-nilly doing whatever, and you're not going in a direction that you need to go to, right? If we want to head down towards our North Star or our most important thing, we need daily actions and daily targets. Those daily actions and daily targets are centered around our structure and who we actually want to be. And that's very, very, very important. And so we're also thinking about structure. We're also thinking about our core values. Our core values. Our structure really is who you are. Right? Who you are is your identity. Your identity is your repeated beingness. Your repeated beingness is your core values and your first principles. So we have to come up with 4 to 7 first principles or core values that are most important to you, and that gives your life structure, because everything you do is filtered through those words of hope and honesty and consistency and resilience and hard work and consistency. Like those potentially could be kindness, love, empathy, whatever it is for you, and now you filter all of your actions and thoughts and movements through these core values, through these first principles, which gives your life more structure and allows you also easily more to head in the right direction you want to go in, right? Because we know direction is more important than speed. That's why hitting these daily targets through your algorithms is super important. So your discipline is your structure for your life, but the structure for your life is based on your core values and your first principles. And so you have to understand what those are through experience, through contemplation, and through journaling that allows you to get really concrete on those core values and those first principles. Then you have a structure for your life. Then you can employ discipline and all of these other things that will allow you to move towards your most important targets. We have 3 more, 8, 9, and 10. Number 8 is stop disregarding rest. Rest and recovery are just as important as anything else. Yes, you have to work hard. Yes, you have to be consistent. Those are cornerstones of really anything you want to achieve in life. That's great. But now, especially, we've seen this, being passed over from the sports world. If you want to be your very best, if you want to be able to get to the edge of your capacity every single day on a consistent basis, then you have to dominate your rest and recovery. It's just as important as the hard work. It actually is part of the hard work is rest and recovery. So understanding, getting this sort of non-sleep deep rest, having a breathing and a meditation practice, understanding that I need to get 8 hours of sleep, right? Understanding that sleep is important because it allows me to rejuvenate myself, it allows my brain to clean, and allows the day to restart so that when I wake up in the morning and I have this structure and this discipline that I've created, I can feel my best, because we have energy, work, and love. Those are sort of the 3 buckets of our life. And the most important one is energy, because if I don't feel like getting out of bed, if I don't have any energy, then I can't go into deep work, and I can't do deep love, and I can't do the things that I know that I'm destined to do because I haven't prioritized this first thing of energy. So we have to get our energy right. How do we get our energy right? Naps, meditation, prioritizing sleep, eating right, moving right, thinking well. All of these things go into rest, and we can't disregard it. We can't think we're just one of these people who can get 3 or 4 hours of sleep every night and we'll be fine. No, you won't be fine. Why not make sleep a priority right now? Thinking about what might might be your number one self-care habit. Mine is sleep. And so I know that if I prioritize my sleep and I get 8 hours, then I wake up every day feeling my very, very best. And yeah, it doesn't happen every night, but I try to make it a priority and a non-negotiable in my life. And so how can you make sleep, rest, and recovery a non-negotiable in your life so you can have this energy optimized, so you can go into deep work and deep love as your best self and blossom into the great, beautiful, best version of yourself that you know is possible. And so we can't disregard rest. We actually have to do the opposite and make it a top priority so we can get to the edge of our capacity every day and bring our best energy every single day. And then number 9, stop holding on to resentment. It's not going to help you. It's never going to help you. Stop holding on to it. Yes, it's easier said than done when I just say, dude, just let it go. But we have to actually, again, be aware that we're holding on to this resentment. We have to accept the fact that we actually did hold on to it. It's killing us, right? Holding on to resentment or guilt or shame or poison, right, is like poison, right? We self-injected, right? And just like over time, it slowly deteriorates us. Okay, so we accept that it's happening. I feel this thing, this emotion in my body, this resentment, and I've been suppressing it, pushing it away, and now I need to deal with it head on. I need to attack it head on, right? Because again, we talked about the hero's journey. What does the hero do? The hero slays dragons because he faces them head on, even if he's scared or not. And it's not just like actual dragons or bad guys. It's everything. It's our emotions. It's things in life that we have to face head on. We have to voluntarily address these things head on, about feeling feelings and not suppressing our emotions and understanding how to deal with them and handle our self-talk and think about this resentment that we've been holding on to for 25 years and it's just slowly killing us. Okay, then we move into action. Action might be a community group or talking to a therapist or learning a bit more about where that thing came from and understanding how to let it go, and if there needs to be a resolution or forgiveness is involved, or what does it look like? Is it about your childhood, or what's going on there that we have this resentment, or is it just unmet expectations that we didn't vocalize, or anything that could be happening there? We have to voluntarily attack those types of things. We can't avoid. Anything that we avoid will come back to bite us in the ass. We can't avoid hard conversations. We can't avoid hard emotions. We can't avoid hard things. We have to attack them head on. That's how we become strong. We voluntarily suffer to combat us for the involuntary suffering. That's how we move towards this greatness in life. That's how we become the best version of ourselves in greatest service to the world. We go on the hero's journey and we voluntarily attack these dragons head on. And that's what you have to do with any sort of hard emotion like resentment or guilt or shame. You have to think about it. Okay, I'm aware that I have it. That's a good first step. I'm aware that I have emotions or feelings or this thing that's really hard for me to deal with. Okay, now I'm accepting the fact that that's true, even as a man, of course, as a man. And then I'm moving into action. What sort of things can I do to help alleviate, to help deal with, to help combat, to help understand what's happening in my body, in my brain, and how I feel? Men's group, men's coach, therapist, all of these types of things, a book, anything that might help you understand what's happening deeper inside of you, and then attacking that head on, and then releasing that from yourself, and you see the sort of weight lifted off your shoulders. Then you can actually move into becoming that best version of you because you've let go of that resentment and guilt and shame, and you're not shitting on yourself anymore, and you're thinking about your finances, and you're living with structure because you've understood your core values and who you want to be in the world, and you're not outsourcing your validation, and you're not consuming all of this meaningless content, and you're taking ownership and extreme responsibility for who you are and who you want to be. And then finally, number 10, to sort of wrap it all up, stop rejecting help and support. We are relational people. We are best in relationship. The way we connect with others is our superpower. I've mentioned this so many times on this podcast, but it's relevant again here. Harvard, 85-year study. What did they found on how to live the good life? Great relationships and great health. That's basically what we've been talking about this whole time. Take care of your health. Eat well. Move well, sleep well, think well, boom, and then address some of these underlying issues, attacking them head on, voluntarily addressing these issues that you might feel or have felt for a long time. Then we have great relationships. great relationships. We're associating selectively because we want to build powerful, strong, genuine relationships with other men, with women, with whoever it is that we can build honest, strong bonds that bring out the best in us, that bring out the responsibility and the maturity in us. And we're not rejecting help and support. We're saying, hey, I need help here. Hey, I'm lacking here. Hey, I don't understand here. Hey, can you help me with this here? Whether it's a community, a sports team, a religious community, your friends, right? We're building great relationships so we feel comfortable asking for help and receiving that help when we need it. We don't need to do everything on our own. Yes, there are a lot of things that we need to get done on our own, right? We're taking extreme ownership and accountability for our life and who we want to be in this world. But that life is even better in relationship with other people. That life is even better when we're connected to other people who are also on the same path, who are looking out for our best interests. Yes, your heart is going to get stomped on when you ask for help. Yes, sometimes people are going to reject you. Yes, sometimes they're not going to say the right thing or do the right thing. Yes, all of these sorts of things are going to happen. It's not always going to go well. That's just part of the deal. But if you want to live the best life possible, then creating the best relationships you possibly can is always going to be a cornerstone of that. And that requires vulnerability and empathy and honesty and kindness. All of these things we're trying to create here through this list of 10 things that men need to stop doing in order to start doing the things that are great, right? Because the fastest way to improve our life is to stop doing the things that make us feel like shit. Then once we stop doing those, then we start doing the habits that we know are even better for us. But we got to stop doing certain things, eliminate those. It's less about adding new things and more about quitting other things. And then once that happens, once we realize we've stopped those things, then we move into making more or making new, better habits too small to fail and creating this best version of ourselves in greatest service of the world. So let's go through the 10 one more time, then I'll leave you with a Winston Churchill quote. So 1 was stop shitting on yourself. 2, stop blaming women for your problems. 3, stop consuming calorie-less content. 4, stop outsourcing validation. 5, stop ignoring finances. 6, stop overthinking. 7, stop living without structure. 8, stop disregarding rest. 9, stop holding on to resentment. And 10, stop rejecting help and support. I deeply, deeply, deeply care about men, young boys, young men, all men, and that we work together to strive to become the best version of ourselves in greatest service to the world and build and add and be these leaders and creators and fathers and husbands that I know we can be, that creates a better, more just, more kind, more hopeful, more optimistic society. And so I'll leave you with 2 quotes from Winston Churchill. 1, the price of greatness is responsibility. And courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. So thank you for your time and attention. If you enjoyed that episode at all, please share with a friend. That's the best way this podcast grows. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers. Thank you very much for tuning into that episode. And if you enjoyed it, click right here for another full-length episode of the podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, above all else, please take good care of yourselves and others. And I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.